is today day 21 of Algebra 2, and we are doing our Unit 3 practice quiz. This is all about absolute value. So I'm just going to write up here for my name, I'm going to put answer guide. So you will write your name. This will be your exit ticket today. So you will need to turn this in before you take this quiz. But you don't have to necessarily turn it in today if you want to keep it with you until then. So on page 1, I've given you 4 expressions. Expressions, not equations, because there's no equal signs. We're not solving for x, y, or z. We are evaluating each expression using the given values. So x is 2, y is -5, and z is -3. So you're going to use these values for all 4 problems on the first page. So I'm going to get some highlighters out just to help me stay organized. I'll use blue, green, and pink. And let's see. I said pink, purple. I'll make X purple. You can choose whatever colors you like. I'll make Y green. And I might not use blue because I wrote in blue ink. I'm going to use pink. -3. Okay. So starting from number 1, the expression that I've given you is the absolute value of -2 times y plus x. Then outside of the absolute value, we have plus z. So for the first problem, I'll guide you through my process. I'll tell you exactly, bless you, how I would do this. First, I like to use my colors. I see x is 2, so I'm going to find any x's in here. And I've got one of my x's right there inside the absolute value. I know y is -5, so I'm going to highlight my y right here in the same color. And z is -3, there's a z at the end. I'm going to highlight that as well. I might even write the numbers on top. Z is -3. Y is -5. And x is 2. Okay. So I have kind of color-coded my expression, and I've written the numbers on top of the variables that we will be replacing them with. Once I know what numbers, what values I'm going to substitute for my variables, this is where we rewrite the expression, but instead of the variables, we're going to write those numbers. So I'm going to bring down, what am I writing?
Absolute value. -2.
-2.
Times -5.
Good. Instead of y, we'll write times -5. Plus
Your +2 for x.
+2 for x.
And then the absolute value bar again.
Absolute value bar again.
Plus -3.
Plus -3. Z. So I have replaced my values. I've substituted them. Where would I go from here in this problem?
You do what's in your absolute value bars.
Yes. Now let's look at what's in the absolute value bars. I've got -2 times -5 plus 2. So what should I do first?
The 2 times -5.
Yeah, we have
2 times.
Yes, -2 times -5. What does that give us? +10. So I'm going to cross those out, bring down +10. What comes down?
+2.
+2. What else comes down?
Your absolute value bar.
My absolute value bars.
Plus -3.
and then plus -3. Now, this is optional, but I have plus -3 here at the end. Is there anything I could get rid of
The plus sign.
the plus sign? Does everybody understand that if I have plus -3, it's the same thing as -3? Okay. Is anybody not okay with that? If I write this here, I'm gonna just write -3.
So, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, but, I was gonna say what I had done, that
Mhm.
probably will make the answer wrong. But I carried over the plus sign, I put parentheses around my -3 to separate it.
That would be right too. You could absolutely do that. So this is what Charles did. He wrote plus parentheses -3. This is the same thing as -3.
Okay.
All the same. So you could do it either way. Either way is good. Okay, so I did my -2 times -5. I got +10 plus 2. And we're going to now do what?
Bring it down and find your absolute value.
Okay, so what am I bringing down?
The 10 plus 2 will make it 12.
Good. 10 plus 2 is 12. Bring down absolute value. What else comes down?
Your -3.
Yeah, my -3, -3. What happens here?
The absolute value of 12 is 12.
Good. The absolute value of 12 is just 12. And I'll bring down -3,
Equals 9.
and it's 9. Circle your answer. If you do your work in a nice organized way like this, your work will always have this sort of V shape, just like your absolute value graph. Because we're sort of simplifying it as we go. It gets a little shorter each time. So at each step, you should have less and less to bring down. We're trying to get it simplified to one single number. And that's what we did. Pause that for just a second. Okay. So that was number 1. Now let's look at number 2. This one's a little bit more complicated. What do I want to do first?
Plug everything in.
Yeah, let's plug everything in. I have an X here. I have a Y at the end. And I have a Z. Got all 3 of them. And I'm just going to label each of these with the values I have at the top. I'm going to Z is -3. X is 2. And then Y is -5. So, what should I do next?
Rewrite everything.
Let's rewrite everything. 3. Absolute value bar. Then what?
-3 minus 2.
Good. -3 minus 2. Then what?
The other absolute value.
Good. Other absolute value bar
Plus
plus
the absolute value for
value.
2 minus -5.
Yes, 2 minus -5. So you want to keep that minus. That's part of the original expression. But y is -5. So there's a negative here. We can put that in parentheses if it helps. And then one last little thing. What is that?
Your absolute value bar.
Absolute value bar. Good. Okay. So this problem is a little bit different because we have 2 sets of absolute value bars now. What should we do next?
Rewrite it, but find your absolute values of the -3 minus 2, and then the 2 minus -5.
Yes, we're going to bring things down, but let's start to kind of simplify what's inside of both of these bars. So we'll start with -3 minus 2. What does that give us?
-5.
Good. -5. And we're going to find the absolute value of that.
Then your 2 minus -5 is -3.
2 minus 5 would be -3, but this is
Oh,
2 minus -5. Do we remember what happens when I have minus negative? It turns into a plus. That's weird.
Oh, that's what got it.
Yeah.
7.
Minus negative really means plus. So it's really 2 plus 5. Now, if that's something that you don't have memorized, not the end of the world. Just make sure that when you type in your calculator, 2 minus, put the negative in front of the 5 as well. 2 minus -5.
I see what I did there too.
And we'll still get 7. You see what you did?
It's Monday, but I hit the negative sign twice.
I getcha.
Yeah, I didn't
Okay, so we got 7 here. I'll bring down those absolute value bars. What else comes down?
Your 3.
My 3. What else? And my plus sign. So this is a little bit sloppy at this step. 3, absolute value -5, plus absolute value of +7. So what should we do next?
Find your absolute value,
Yes.
both the -5 and the 7.
Okay, so what's the absolute value of -5?
5.
+5. When I bring down this +5, I'm going to write it like that. And I'm going to bring down this 3. What's happening between the 3 and the 5? Yes, remember, there is no symbol in between the absolute value and the 3. When that happens, this is multiplication. We just turn this into parentheses. 3, so it's 3 times 5. So don't forget that. What else comes down? Plus sign.
And then 7.
7. Absolute value of 7 is just 7. So just bring that down. Okay. What happens next?
Take 3 times 5, which is 15,
Perfect. 3 times 5 is 15.
plus 7 is 22.
Plus 7 is 20. 22? 23. Okay, 22. Good. And then you circle it. That is number 2. Do we have any questions about number 1 or 2 before we move on, or do we feel pretty good about these? Good. Yay. Okay, so that was number 2. I'm going to keep this where you can still see it, and we'll start highlighting things for number 3. First step, I'm just going to highlight my variables. I have a y in absolute value bars for number 3. Highlight that in green. And I have a z in absolute value bars. That's it. And I just have y and z this time. So what am I plugging in for y? Good, -5. And z?
-3.
-3. This will be a shorter problem. That's nice. Okay, so when I bring down things and I rewrite it at this next step, what will I be writing?
What's your
-5.
Absolute value bars.
Absolute value bars around that. Good.
Plus 3.
Plus 3.
For the absolute value bar.
Absolute value bar.
-3.
Good. -3. We'll close that bar. Okay. So I have -5, the absolute value of that, plus 3, absolute value of -3. What's happening with this 3 on the outside of the bars?
It's being multiplied.
Yes, it's being multiplied to the absolute value of -3. So I have my numbers plugged in. No more variables. What do I do now?
Find your absolute value of both the -5 and -3.
Yes, find the absolute value of both of these numbers, -5 and -3. What's the absolute value of -5?
+5.
+5. And the absolute value of -3?
+3.
+3. What comes down?
Plus 3.
Plus 3.
In parentheses.
Yeah, and then let's replace the absolute value bars with parentheses so that what doesn't happen, I've seen this before on this quiz. You'll bring down the 3, bring down the 3, and then they do 5 plus 33. That would not be right. This is multiplied. So now here's another part that somebody might mess up on. I bet none of you will. 5 plus 3 times 3. Are we going to just do this from left to right? Okay.
Parentheses first.
We do parentheses first. We do multiplication first. Then we add. So we need to do 3 times 3 first, which is 9. Bring down 5 plus 9. And what do we get? 14. It's important to do that 3 times 3 first because if I had done 5 plus 3 and got 8, did that times 3, I would get an answer of 24, which would be incorrect. We want to make sure we're using our order of operations. And if you've forgotten those, remember it's just like this. E, E, N. Parentheses or grouping symbols. That's your exponents for E. Multiplication and division for M and D. Addition and subtraction is the very last step for A and S. So we always want to do multiplication first before we add. Any questions on number 3? Four? Okay, number 4. I've got 2 variables, X and Z. I'm gonna highlight those. I use purple for my X, pink for Z. And what am I plugging in?
Your X and Z,
What's X?
2.
2, and Z is -3. So at the next step, what will I write?
Rewrite your equation, that would be 4 absolute value bar, 2 times 2, and then minus -3.
Okay, so I have 4 times the absolute value of 2 times 2 minus -3. Okay. What should I do now?
Your multiplication,
So what do I multiply?
your 2 by 2,
Yes, 2 times 2 is 4. What comes down?
minus -3.
Minus -3.
Then your absolute value bars, and then the positive 4 on the outside to the left.
Positive 4 on the outside. Okay. Now what do I do?
Find the absolute value of 4 minus -3.
Yeah, so what's 4 minus -3? 7. Remember that minus negative really means plus. So it's really like doing 4 plus 3. And that would give us 7. Bring down those absolute values. Bring down the 4.
And then 4 times absolute value of 7 is 28.
It would be 28.
But your absolute value of 7 is 7.
Yes, thank you. Absolute value of 7 is just 7. So we're just doing 4 times 7, which is 28. Perfect. Circle our answer. That is it. Hey, that's your whole first page. Whole first page. Any questions at all on that first page? I'm going to take the silences. We feel good. Of course, if you have questions that maybe you don't want to say in front of the class, please don't be scared to come and ask me later. I want you to feel good about it. So moving to the second page, page 2, now we have equations. Now we have equal signs. So the directions say to solve each equation for both values of x. We're going to graph each answer on the number line. So whenever we have an absolute value equation, does anybody remember what the very first step is?
Get the stuff in the absolute value bars by itself.
Yes, get anything in the absolute value bars by itself. So if I were to write some steps, I'm going to say isolate or get by itself the absolute value. Step 1. Isolate the absolute value. So for number 5, do I need to do anything to isolate that?
No.
No, it's already by itself over here. 4x minus 4 is in the absolute value bars. There's nothing on the outside. So what is step 2 once we've got that by itself?
Split them up.
Yeah, we're going to split into 2 equations. So split into 2 equations. Now, when I split into 2 equations, what stays the same and what changes?
36 goes negative.
Yes. My answer, or in this case 36, that's going to be the only thing that changes. One of my problems, I'll keep it positive 36. Another one of my problems, we'll change it to negative. So, let's see. I'm going to put absolute value here. Underline that. Equals whatever this number is. I'm going to put like 10. When we split, it's the answer that changes. So we'd say x equals 10, x equals negative 10. And whatever's inside the absolute value stays the same. So if that's something that helps, write it down. Okay, so for number 5, we are going to go ahead and rewrite this equation. One of the equations will be positive 36. We'll drop the value bars. So I'm going to write 4x minus 4 equals positive 36. For my other equation, we're going to keep it the same. 4x minus 4 equals, only thing that changes is 36. So it'll be negative 36. Let's do this sticky note over so we'll. So I have my 2 equations written out. And let's do our positive one first. What should I do here?
Add 4 to the other side.
Yeah, let's add 4 to both sides. And that will give us 4x equals 40. Good. And now what?
Divide by 4.
Divide by 4. And that gives us x equals, good, 10. So there's one of my answers. Now let's do the other. So again, what should I do here? Add 4 to both sides. Same thing, I'll bring down 4x equals, yes, negative 36 plus 4 is negative 32. Divide by 4. And you get x equals negative 8. So we've done that. Step 3, we're going to graph these. And remember, it's the smaller number that goes first. So which one goes first here? Negative 8. So I'm going to put a tick mark, put a circle that I fill in, negative 8. And then the other one, 10. There we go. That is number 5. We'll sleeping it over, and let's look at number 6 now. So we decided that the first step is to isolate the absolute value. Do I need to do anything to isolate it here? Yes, I only have 1 plus 7x inside my absolute value bars. There is a 2 on the outside. We need to get rid of that. So we will do exactly what you said. We'll divide by 2. Both sides. When I divide by 2, what happens? 2 cancels out. What comes down?
1 plus 7.
Good. 1 plus 7x in those bars equals 50. Good. Okay. Do I need to do anything else to isolate the absolute value? Nope. We got it all by itself. So now it's time for step 2. We're going to split it into 2 equations. So for my first equation, I'm going to rewrite what's in the absolute value bars. Got 1 plus 7x equals 50. What should I write for my other equation?
1 plus 7x equals negative 50.
Perfect. 1 plus 7x equals negative 50. Just change the answer. I have my 2 equations written. Where should I go now?
Minus the 1 on both sides.
Yeah, let's start here. We're going to subtract 1 from both sides.
And then it'll be 7x equals 49.
With 7x equals 49.
And I divide by 7.
Divide by 7.
X equals 7.
And x equals 7. Good. Okay, so I solved my positive 50 equation. Now let's go over to the negative 1. And we should do the same first step. So
Minus 1.
minus 1 on both sides. Bring down my 7x equals,
Negative 51.
good, negative 51. And last step,
Divide by 7.
divide by 7. Should get x equals
Negative 7.2.
negative 7.28,
Also a bunch of
something like that. Let me type in and give you all that. So negative 51 divided by 7.
But negative 7 is all you got.
Yeah, negative 7.285714286. Again, I won't be picky. I usually write 2 decimal places. You could write negative 7.28. If you wanted to round, you could put negative 7.29. I think I'm going to put negative 7.29. So we will get decimals sometimes, and that is okay. Doesn't mean that you did it wrong. Negative 7.29. If you wanted to do just 1 decimal place, you could put negative 7.3. I'm fine with any of those.
I just put negative 7.28.
Yeah, that would be perfectly fine. Perfect. Okay, so I have both of my answers. Now what?
Graph them out.
Graph them out. What goes first?
Yeah,
Negative 7.29.
Good. Negative 7.29 goes first. So negative or positive 7 goes next. And that is number 6. Very good. Okay. Any questions about that one? Like we're getting these pretty good. Okay. Can I move on to number 7, or does anybody need more time?
Go ahead.
All right. So skipping down to number 7. Now I have even more things. There's a 6 on the outside of the absolute value of 8x minus 7, and then another plus 7 on the outside equals 61. Yes.
That's what I did first.
We want to subtract 7 first. So let's do that. Minus 7, minus 7. And what comes down?
Everything.
Everything. 6. Absolute value. 8x minus 7 equals
54.
54.
And then, ain't this the part where you divide it all by 6?
Yes, yes. Because the absolute value is still not by itself.
Yeah.
We need to get rid of the 6. So just like the last problem, we will divide both sides by that number, 6. Okay, and then what happens when I divide by 6?
The 6 is canceled.
The 6 is canceled. Does the absolute value change?
No.
No. Bring it down. 8x minus 7, close the bars, equals 9. Perfect.
Split them out.
Now we can split it. Our absolute value is all by itself. It's isolated. So when I split, remember again, that absolute value stays the same. So I'm going to write 8x minus 7. I'll write that again. 8x minus 7. And what changes?
The 9.
The 9. One stays 9. The other, negative 9. Follow into that point? We got that? Okay, so let's look at our positive 9 equation. What should I do first?
Add 7 to each side.
Add 7 to each side. Bring down 8x equals 9 plus 7 is
16.
16.
I don't know why it took me so long to think that.
I don't know math, apparently. But I was
That's
like,
8 out of
It's
16.
Monday.
you can focus up with it.
And then what?
Divide both of those by 8.
Divide both of them by 8.
X equals 2.
Perfect. X equals 2. Okay, so now we'll go to the other one. What should I do here? Add 7. Negative 9 plus 7 is
Negative 2.
negative 2. Bring down equals, bring down 8x. We'll get another decimal here, and that is okay.
Negative 0.25.
Yes, after we divide by 8, we will get x equals negative 0.25. If you just put negative 0.25, that's fine. You don't have to put the 0. I just like to. So for my graph, which one goes first?
The
negative
zero
0.25.
point two five.
Good. Negative 0.25 goes first. So second is positive 2. That is number 7. You want people still writing? I'll wait just a minute here. And then we'll do the last equation for number 8. Anybody need more time? Looks like we're good. I'm gonna move that sticky note. And last problem on page 2, number 8. Okay. This one looks confusing. Looks a little confusing. So, before we start anything, don't get confused that this is a minus between the 4 and the 6. Let's think about what's going on here. If I want to get my absolute value by itself, what does it mean again whenever I have a number outside of absolute value bars?
You leave it alone.
You leave it alone. It means it's being multiplied. So we got to get rid of other stuff first. Is there any?
You can subtract 4 on both sides.
Yes. This is 4 minus 6 times the absolute value of x minus 6. This 4 is over here by itself. Let's get rid of it by subtracting. It's a positive 4 because there's no negative sign in front of it, right? So we can subtract 4 to get rid of it. We'll do that on both sides. What comes down?
Negative 6.
Yes.
Absolute value. X minus 6.
Yes, this is the tricky part. Don't forget to bring down that minus sign because that's going to attach to the 6. It's negative 6 times the absolute value of x minus 6 equals,
Negative 72.
good, negative 72. And now that excuse me, you're all right. So what do I do next?
Divide by negative 6.
Divide by negative 6. And good thing there was a negative 6 because if this was positive 6, this would be a negative answer over here, which if you remember way back, we talked very briefly about it. If this was still a negative by the time the absolute value was by itself, we would have no solution. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to give you a problem with no solution on your quiz. So that won't happen. You're going to solve all of these. So I'm dividing by negative 6. You get positive 12.
Absolute value bars. X minus 6.
Okay, equals positive 12. All right. Okay, so now what?
Split up.
Split them up. Let's do x minus 6 stays the same for both of them. Write that twice. And my answer of 12, right, equals 12 for one, and for the other, negative 12 equals negative 12. Good. And these are some simple one-step problems at the end here, which is nice. What do I do?
Add 6.
Add 6. You do that on both of them. And we get x equals 18 for our first answer. And for our second, we add 6 again.
Negative 6.
Negative 6. Good. X equals negative 6.
I got to that part earlier and I was like, I'll just see how it plays out.
Facts.
I was like, I don't know if you should put a 1 in front of the X at this point, divide by 1.
No, that's all right. We got it. So my graph, what number comes first?
-6.
-6. Good.
If we look at number 6 real quick, just so I can jot it down.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you need the whole problem?
Perfecto. No, that's fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll just pause this for a minute. All right, so that is all of page 2. Moving on to the last page. Now we're graphing. So I've given you 4 graphing problems. And before we start, I would recommend, just like we kind of made a little guide for page 2 on a sticky note, I'm going to keep that on page 2. Let's make a sticky note guide for page 3. So, whenever we are graphing absolute value, we're using this equation form. We've got y equals a absolute value x minus h, I'll make red, absolute value again, plus k, blue. And there's a couple of things that we need. First of all, we would need to find what A is, what H is, what K is. What's special about the H value?
Negative?
It's negative. It's the opposite. H is the opposite, which means, for example, on number 9, I have +3 inside my absolute value bars next to X. That would mean my H is -3. If I had minus a number, that would be positive. So I'm going to make a note. H is opposite. We can put a little example in here that helps. For example, x minus 3. That would mean H is 3. If I had x plus 3, what would my H be?
Negative.
-3 is the opposite. The other numbers are exactly as they're written. A and K. A and K are the same. H is different. Now there's 2 things that we have to identify, the vertex and the slope. How do we find the vertex?
The vortex is whatever H is
Mm-hmm.
and K.
Good. Whatever H is, that'll be your X value. Whatever K is, that will be your Y value. And what's my slope?
The number that's outside of the absolute value.
Yes, the number outside the absolute value bars, and that's represented by which letter?
The A.
The A. My slope is A.
Y'all are so freaking smart.
My brain is froze.
No, y'all are so smart.
Mine was on the stuff we was doing before. I was like, oh.
Now your brain's locking in.
Yeah. We're locking in. Okay. So, give everybody a minute to create your own little guideline, whatever's going to be helpful for you when it comes to graphing. Write it down, because remember, you can use this on your quiz. So, write it down. And as you're kind of making that, we're going to start looking at number 9. So for number 9, the first thing we want to find is our vertex. I'm gonna go ahead and give myself parentheses. What is my H value? -3. Remember, it's opposite. -3. So my X value of my vertex is -3. And K, -2. That one does not change. -2. What's my slope?
2/1.
2/1. Good. Remember, your slope is like your rise over your run. So if it helps you to draw arrows, I like to do that. Up 2/1. What that means.
Ms. Taylor,
Yes.
quick question. So the H is the same thing as Y, and K is the same thing as X.
Opposite.
Opposite.
H is your X. K is your Y. And it might help to remember that in your vertex, X comes first. In your equation, H comes first.
Yeah. So I remember you told us that. And
Yes.
I was like, I forgot.
And also, the H value is the one that's right next to X in the equation. So it is the X. So this is my H and my X. There's my X value on my vertex. Or my H. That's X. And then our Y is the one at the end, which is the same as our K. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I've got my vertex, I've got my slope. Let's start graphing this. What am I going to start with?
-2.
-3, -2, my vertex. So on the x-axis, we're doing x first. I'm going to go over to -3. On the y-axis, I'll go down 2. So over -3, down -2. That's my vertex.
2/1.
Good. And I'm going to use my slope, and I'll go up 2 from there and over 1. Up 1, 2, over 1. There's a point. Up 1, 2, over 1. There's a point. Once I've got 3 in a row, yes, go back to the vertex and do it again in the other direction. So back to the vertex. Up 1, 2, over 1 to the left. Up 1, 2, over 1 to the left. Now don't forget to connect your dots, because this is not the full graph here. This is just a few points on the graph. So I'm going to get a ruler out. Let's connect these. Got my graph done. And there's one more thing that we haven't done yet on number 9. And that's our X and Y chart. So our X and Y chart is just giving us coordinates, our values that each of these points are sitting on. So the way that I like to label these, and I would recommend you do it this way too. Of course, I'm not going to count it wrong if you do it slightly different. I like to start from left to right, and I start with A for my far left point, B next, C, I like that to be my vertex, and then D, E. So we need to label them with something. So then I'll label my XY chart. A, C, D, and E. Now there's one point we already know, and that's the vertex. Yes, which is -3, -2. That's my C, so I can write that in already. -3, -2. Now we just want to go to each of our points and decide where do they line up on the x-axis? Where do they line up on the y-axis?
A equals -5 2.
Good. A is -5 for x, +2 for y. How about B?
-4 0.
Good. -4 for x, 0 for y. C we've already got. How about D?
-2 0.
-2, 0. And E?
-1 2.
1 possible.
Good. -1, +2. So that's how we do our XY chart. And once you've filled that out, the reason I like to have my A starting from the left going down where C is the vertex and then going over more is because if you label them this way, your points are going to kind of have a nice pattern. You'll have 5, 4, or -5, -4, -3, -2, -1. They go kind of in number order. And then my Y's go in a similar pattern where we have +2 down to 0, -2, our lowest point, back up to 0, back up to +2, same point we started on.
So, quick question.
Yes.
On your X side,
Mhm.
will the negatives always be in sequence like that with the biggest number at the top, or does it just depend on
It just depends on the graph. If I had a graph that wasn't pointing this way, maybe it was pointing down, it might do the exact opposite thing. I'm not sure. No, I'm going to take that back. If we're always going from left to right, my X values always start from a bigger negative and then getting smaller and smaller as I go to the right. So you know what? They always will go like in this order. They might not always be exactly one space apart, depending on your slope. Like if this was 1/2 for slope, that would mean there's 2 spaces in between each point. So it wouldn't just go every 1, it would go every 2, like how the Y's do. This is every 2. Yeah, interesting to think about. You guys have any other questions on this one? If not, are we ready for number 10? Okay, so looking at number 10 now. Our vertex and our slope. First of all, what is my H value?
-1.
-1.
Positive.
This is the one. Remember, H is opposite. If it says -3, that means it's +3. So if it says -1, +1. That's tricky. Your H is opposite. And try to remember that it's because it's in these absolute value bars. It kind of flips the number. So H, +1. How about K? +1 also. How about A? -1. There's no number. Yes, there's no number for A, but there is a negative sign. That means it's -1. Okay, so now that I have my values labeled, what is my vertex? 1, 1. What's my slope?
-1/1.
Good, -1/1. So with a negative slope, what's going to change?
Go down instead of up.
It's going to go down instead of up. So if it helps, again, draw those arrows. Instead of going up 1/1, we're going to go down 1/1 because of the negative. So I've got everything filled out except for my graph and my chart. So moving to the graph, what is my starting point? 1, 1. It's our vertex. So over 1, up 1. That is my first point. And from my vertex, where do I go?
Down 1 over 1.
Good. We'll use the slope. It says to go down 1 over 1. So I'll do that. Down 1 over 1. Down 1 over 1. Go back up to the vertex. Same thing, other direction. Down 1 over 1 to the left. Down 1 over 1 to the left. And we will connect our dots. Got my graph. How do we do that XY chart now? Yes, let's start from left to right. We'll label A, B, C, D, E. So A is here, B is here. I'd like C to be my vertex. D is the next one, E is the next one. So once everything is labeled, we've already got C, that's the vertex. I can fill that in. 1, 1. I'm going to also label this chart A, B, C, D, E. What would be my point A?
1 negative 1.
1, negative 1 would be
Negative
here.
1, negative 1.
A negative 1, negative 1 is A. 1, negative 1. How about B?
0, 0.
0, 0.
Loser.
C is 1, 1. We did that. That's the vertex. How about D?
2, 1.
2,
No,
1.
2, 0. Sorry.
2, 0. Good. And E?
3, negative 1.
Negative 1.
Yes, 3, negative 1. And notice the X values still move up. Negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. And our Y's still have this nice pattern where notice A and E are on the same height on the Y-axis. So A and E are both negative 1 for Y. B and D are in the same line, so they have the same Y of 0. C is the highest point. C has the highest Y.
You said the vertex is always C.
Yes. Unless you label it differently, you won't get it counted wrong. Like I may have students that like to put their points all the way down, and then maybe they do A, B, C, D, E. You could do it that way. You won't get that pretty pattern that we're getting though for our X and Y's, where every other point kind of matches in some way. But if you're doing it this way, yes, your vertex will always be C.
I'm probably stick to the way you showing us so I don't get confused.
Yeah.
Unless you're stuck for that one.
But I would recommend.
Right. That's what be confused me sometimes.
Any other questions on this one? You ready for 11? Okay, scooching to 11. Let's identify our vertex, our slope. We need to find A, H, and K. What is my value for H here? 4. Positive 4. Remember, it's opposite. So H is 4. Good. K is 3. And A is 1. Good. So I know my A, H, and K. What's my vertex?
4, 3.
4. 3. Okay, slope is 1 over 1. And that just means up 1 over 1. That's the original way. So we've got all of that identified and done. Where should I start on my graph? 4, 3. Let's put our vertex down. So 4 for the x, I'll go over 4 to the right. 3 for the y, go up to 3. That is my vertex. Once my vertex is on the graph, where do I go?
1 over.
Up 1 over 1. Using the slope. Good. Up 1 over 1 again. Got 3 points in a row. I'll go back to my vertex. Up 1 over 1 the other way. Up 1 over 1. So connect our points. So my graph is done. Now we need to fill out our XY chart. So from left to right, we'll label A, B, C is the vertex, D, E. Label my XY chart. A, B, C, D, E. And we already know point C, 4, 3, my vertex. So if we want, we can fill that in. 4, 3, vertex. A is 2, 5.
It's 3, 4.
B is 3, 4. Good.
D is 5, 4.
D is 5, 4.
C is 6, 5.
E is 6.
Or E,
Here, okay. E is 6, 5. Okay, and we see we've got that pattern again where the x's are getting higher and higher. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And our y's match each other. 3 is the lowest point in the middle. Then it goes to 4 for B and D. Then it goes to 5 for A and E. Interesting. Interesting little pattern. Okay, guys, number 11. We just got one more after this. One more. And then at the end, we do have a bonus that we'll talk about. Before we start 12, does anybody have questions on number 11? Okay, let's look at 12 then, our last one. What should I do first? Yes, let's figure out A, H, and K. So what's my A?
-1 over 2.
A is -1 over 2. What's my H? This? So
No,
0. Ooh, that's hard. Whenever there's no number for H, it's tricky because when there's no number for A, we know it's 1. But if there's nothing for H,
It's 0.
it's 0. That might be another note to write. You think you might forget. No H means H is 0.
Then K is 1.
And K is 1. K is the same way. H and K, if there's no number, it's 0. A, if there's no number, it's 1. We can get more into that if anybody's confused by it. Oh, I wrote 0 for thing.
Sorry, it's Monday.
Not 0. It is Monday. Okay, so I know what A is, I know what H is, I know what K is. What is my vertex? Good. 0, 1. And my slope?
-1/2.
-1/2. Now be careful, this is a negative slope.
I'm gonna go down.
Yes, so we go down 1 instead of up. Down 1 over 2. So we've got everything identified. Our vertex and our slope. Our H and our K. So where do I go from here?
1/2. Or wait, my bad. -0, 1, and then
Yes.
go down.
Yes, you got it. So we'll start with the vertex. It's Monday. We are going to 0 on the x-axis, so we don't go left or right. And then 1 on the y, so we're just up 1 right here. This is our vertex, 0, 1. And now we're using our slope to find more points. Our slope says to go down 1 and over 2. So we will do just that. From my vertex, down 1, over 1, 2. Again, down 1, over 1, 2. I've got 3 in a row. I'll go back to the vertex. Down 1, over 1, 2 to the left. Again, down 1, over 1, 2 to the left. Now, connect the dots. You've got the graph copied down. Last thing left to do is that XY chart. So how do we label this?
A, B, C, D.
A, B, C, D, E. I'll go from left to right. A is there. B, C is my vertex. Then D, then E. Also gonna label my XY chart. A, B, C, D, E.
We have your C.
Yeah, we already have C, 0, 1, our vertex. And
Or -1.
good, -4, -1 for A. B,
-2, 0.
-2, 0. C, 0, 1, we got that. D,
2, 0.
2, 0.
Or -1.
Good, and then E is 4, -1. And again, our points make kind of a nice pattern. And Charles, this is one that you were asking about. Will they always be one after another for the x's? This one, we did have a slope where the over was 2. So instead of -4, -3, -2, we're skipping 1. -4, then -2, then up to 0, then up to +2, +4. Counting by 2's here. Let you guys finish writing things down. And if you have any questions at all, please let me know.
Just to double check, the slope is always A,
Uh-huh.
and then the slope is always right after the Y equals before you get to the
Yes.
absolute value.
Yes. Slope is always A. Slope is always the number right after Y equals. Okay, any other questions before we peek at the bonus? So I'm gonna flip to the very last page. The bonus is always optional, but it's always worth it to maybe give it a little bit of a go. Because worst thing that can happen is you don't get it right and then you don't get bonus points. Best thing that can happen is you get bonus points. So that's a good thing. So on this very last page, it says find the mistakes in the student's work. These are kind of your steps. Identify the mistakes, fix the mistake or correct the student's work, and then explain the student's misunderstanding. So you can get a certain amount of bonus points here. The more you pick out and the better you explain, the more problems you fix, the more bonus points you can get. So if you see one mistake, might get one bonus point or something. But let's kind of look through this one together and I'll show you how we would correct it. So the student has been given the equation y equals 1/2 times the absolute value of x plus 1, absolute value, and then minus 2. They said that their vertex is positive 1, negative 2. The slope. Okay, so one mistake already. H of the vertex, they put positive 1. But remember, H is opposite. So we should circle their 1, circle the plus 1. That would be enough to say identify the mistakes. Fix the mistakes. We could put negative 1. That would be like step 2. And then explaining the misunderstanding, you could say something as simple as H is always opposite. You can go more in depth if you like, but really that's enough of an explanation for me. I don't need you to write an essay. So that's one mistake you could correct. Surely there's others, because if you put the wrong vertex, he probably has the wrong graph. So we want to say, I know my vertex really should be negative 1, negative 2. So if I were to look at the graph, there's lots of things you could do. You could correct it by drawing the correct graph. I'm sure the person's points are wrong too, since they used the wrong vertex. The more that you correct, the more points you'll get. Go ahead.
They use the wrong slope too.
They used the wrong slope.
They did it backwards.
Okay, so I see from their vertex they went up 2 over 1. Oh my gosh. Okay, so something else we could do is we could like circle in between points and we could just write a little explanation. The slope, like this is exactly what I would do when I'm grading your quiz. So you guys are being a teacher here. The slope is 1 over 2. But this graph has a slope of 2 over 1. Something like that could work. Okay. Anything else you guys notice?
So then their X and Y's are gonna be wrong.
Yeah, their X's and Y's are going to be wrong. You don't want to go through and find all of them. You can even just circle the graph and say, if your vertex is wrong and your slope is wrong, your points are probably wrong too. Something like that.
You know, we they trying to be extra because we like possibly go over the graph and the XY chart.
Yes, yes. I mean, if you do that, you redo the graph and the XY chart, you're just going to get more bonus points. The more effort you put into it, the more points I'll give you. So I'm going to write vertex and slope are both wrong. X, Y will be wrong. So if we wanted to, we could go ahead and redo this graph. Start with the real vertex, which is -1, -2. So on my graph, where would I go?
Over 1 down to.
Over 1 to the left, good, and then down 2. So that would be -1, -2. This is where the vertex should be. And using our slope, where would we go?
Up 1, left 2.
Yes.
Up 1, right 2.
Up 1 over 2 in both directions. Up 1 over 2. Okay, go up 1 over 1, 2 again. 1 over 1, 2. 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. 1 over 2. You connect the dots and say, this is what your graph should look like. We labeled this graph the same way we did the previous ones. Our vertex would be C.
There's -2, -1.
Negative-
See,
It'd be -1,
C.
-2.
Yeah, it'd be the same as the vertex. -1, -2. So C, and then I'll go backwards. B, A, and then D, E after C.
so that's up 1 over 2.
Yes. 1 over 2 for that slope. So if we wanted to make a new XY chart, again, totally optional. But my point A would be what?
-5, 0.
-5, 0.
B is -3, -1.
B is -3, -1. C is our vertex, so -1, -2.
B is
D,
1, -1.
1, -1.
B is 3, 0.
D, 3, 0, good. Okay. So I've made lots of mistakes on this one and on the quiz, so that you have lots of things to fix. See if you can fix all of them, but if you don't, you can get a few points for just correcting 1 or 2 things. Worth it to at least try, see if you can find something. Now, it might not be the same mistakes as I just showed you here. Might be a little different, but good things. Okay, guys. That is the whole practice quiz, including the bonus. I'll leave this up for a minute in case anyone is still copying that down. But that's it. This is all we're doing today. If you would like to stay and do any more practice, or if you want to start on the quiz, I do have some copies of that ready. I would ask that you guys give me like 5 minutes to run to the restroom first.
I'll take you a break. Take a little 15. It's okay.
And then, but if you're not wanting to take the quiz today, you want to kind of rest and let this marinate until tomorrow, then you're free to go. So that's all today. I will go ahead and end our video. Again, you're welcome to stay, but you're also free to go. That
Do you
is
still
all.
want us to turn these in?
Yes, I do want those turned in. You don't have to turn them in today, as long as I get them by Friday or just whenever you take your quiz. Okay.
I got you.